inside of the Saints. Loading.
You know, it is not just a case of physical attraction. I admire her mind, too.
What's up, Saints? This is DeJounte, your host and your co-host,
Stephen Go.
and you are watching episode 6 of Insights of the Saints. Can we get a round of applause? We have filled, like a month worth of episodes. Think about this. We filled a month worth of episodes. That's a lot of episodes. Like, that's a whole month worth of content.
Yes, a lot of hours.
I know that's a lot of hours. If you think about like all the episodes combined, I gotta be like 6, 7 hours.
That's right.
Or just about. But to get into our shout outs, our first shout out, we always have to shout out God, of course. If we would not be here if it was not for His grace and for His mercy and for His love and the calling over our life. Next, we have to shout out Pastor Jack, of course, for not only welcoming us into his church, but also just allowing us to just be a part of the big plans that he has here. And, just even helping us in the vision that God has also given us to do here as well. Any other shout out? I mean, of course, the supporters. You always got to shout out the supporters. All of our beautiful, women, men, children, whatever you are watching us. We want to say thank you personally because without you, this vision that God has put in our hearts wouldn't really be doing well.
That's right.
But, He's given us you to help that. Who else? How? That's all I know.
That's it. Everyone that is here. We're going to keep going no matter what.
Of course. So now into the announcements. Ohio State is playing in the championship game as we speak. So good luck to those boys. God bless. And I promise you, if you lose, I'm transferring. But other than that, I mean, I think that they're doing great. Cavs did beat OKC. Yeah, Cavs did beat OKC. So shout out them. No, I'm not really the biggest Cleveland fan, but hey, gotta rep the city.
That's right.
Any updates on the book?
So far, I have just written a lot of different kinds of topics.
Mm-hmm.
Just dabbling in some things, for the new year. So before I actually lock in.
Oh, so you about to lock in?
Yes, very
Okay,
soon.
you about to lock in. See, you heard him here. He said he's locking in. He getting, he in his bag all 2025. What about this serene spectacle you was talking about earlier? I'm just no, you tell us this catastrophe you thought it was.
So this
title.
was DeJounte and I were talking
No,
about this.
no. Don't add my damn DeJounte and I. No, it was Egan.
Okay, this morning I had this great revelation.
Okay, go ahead.
As you can see, I got new glasses. So
yeah, very nice glasses.
As I was making it out
mm-hmm.
from here, Mansfield,
mm-hmm.
heading to Columbus, I saw myself as an individual. Everything was just phenomenal. The look, the scene, everything that was described and viewed through this new lens gave me that title for the poem. And I said, man, these are some unique spectacles. Well, I said, wow, so that should be the title for my poem.
And you named it Serene Spectacle.
Spectacles.
My bad. You see, my fault. He even correct.
This ain't no monocle. It's a spectacle.
Spectacles, as he said. I mean, hey, bro, if you want to name your poem that, I'm just saying, like, imagine somebody reading through that and they're like, you know what? I'm about to read this poem, Serene Spectacles. I'm not reading that. But we changed the name though.
I decided to
because we couldn't. No, we decided. It's not now. It's a we. See, the first one was you. Now this is collective. We decided that wasn't working. That was not it. That was not it.
No. So if you do see the poem, it's going to be renamed.
Yeah, it had to be. I couldn't let my homie go out like that, like Serene Spectacle.
I was having my creative juices working.
I don't think they were.
Yeah, I had to wake up. That was a long drive. That got
Hmm.
me hazy.
Yeah, definitely long drive.
No,
My bad. It was a car driving past. Me. It was just
the,
the
the
environment
Kiwi.
and me. Yeah, that's like a car drive past. You driving past all slow. I'm like, hey, who got? I was wondering. Probably a nice neighbor.
That's right.
But other than that, I did tell y'all I will update y'all on whether if the Riz worked, and it worked until Michael Jordan, Ben Wallace, and prime Shaquille O'Neal checked into the game. Out of nowhere, people just spawned. No, I don't know. They just spawned out of nowhere. All of a sudden, it was being heard. It was going great. I had 30 in the first half. Like I'm balling. All of a sudden, I'm getting triple teamed. I'm getting full court press. I got two people guarding me. Like, where did you come from? Like, what are you doing? I thought we were friends, and these are my friends. Like, and they're women. I don't know. I don't know. I
That's a
don't know.
long
It was
story.
yeah. It was a long story. I was very highly upset. I was very upset. You can ask Steven. I was upset the whole day. I was like, it's no way. I was like, and she was feeling the kid though. Like we was really vibing. We was shooting pool. I had bought lunch. Like I was really trying to. Hey, bro, I was really being me. I was raising. I was doing it all until prime Shaquille O'Neal stepped in the game, and I was like, yeah, I was cooked. He shut down the whole paint. It was over. I couldn't score no more buckets. I didn't even get the number.
Not yet.
Exactly, not yet. Facts, 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 facts. Not yet, not yet. You see, gotta raise up the spirits.
No worries. We had a great dinner.
Yeah, we had a great dinner until Steven said, "I wore a shirt for you. Why didn't you wear your shirt for me?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's been one of those days."
What was your comeback though?
Like, first of all, he wore this dress shirt and said, "I wore a shirt for you." I'm like, "What do you mean you wore a shirt for me?" Like, you didn't go all dressed up for me. I'm like, Adrian, here we go. Here we go. This is not the time. This is not the time. But I told him I was talking about it because last time he tried to play me at the end, talk about some, why are you looking at me? Say it to the women. Like I was trying to like raise him up or something. So I was like, okay, well, they gonna know about this. So for all y'all out there, know that he wore his shirt for me. That's crazy work. I mean, as a grown individual, especially as a grown man, I didn't know we was doing that in the big 2025. But hey, to each his own. To each is his own.
You didn't even include the comeback you made.
I don't remember.
You said you did it for yourself. That's what you told me.
Exactly. He did it. Like he did it for himself. He didn't do it for me. Talk about some I wore a shirt for you. No, you did it for yourself. Don't please don't direct that towards me. Hey, you trying to mess up my street cred.
Yeah, so
You know?
that was just a compliment within the compliment. Got that rejection worked all right.
Exactly. Every rejection is set up for elevations. I rejected them, but you never know. It may be a fine, young nice
There
lady.
was a nice lady there.
Oh yeah,
She's
shout
a
out to our
waitress.
waiter Brooklyn. If you ever watching this,
That waiter, yeah.
Hey, she was amazing.
Yep.
I think she was from Mansfield. I think.
Yeah, she is from here.
Yeah, she was amazing. Food was great though. We went to O'Charlie's. It was kind of cool. It was cool.
Yeah, they had a great atmosphere.
Yeah.
Serene. All right. Let's get this out.
What you got for me?
All right, so open up the Pathfolio, the famous one right here.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So for the topic today, it's how do I go to God? How to depend? How do I?
Well, no, it's the importance of the.
Oh, sorry. Let me include that. What is the importance
of depending
on God
in times of need?
In times of need, in regards to a saint, in the perspective of a saint.
Yeah, in perspective of someone who has been, trying to walk as closely as to the Lord as possible and implement His ways in their life. Just from our perspective, teaches his own. Take my advice. Don't take my advice. Hey, it's up to you.
It works nonetheless.
I would hope so.
All right. So for that be the topic,
Hmm.
that being the topic, we shall go in for the first question. Is a is a believer um, is a believer any different from an unbeliever when it comes to troubles?
No, and I know it may seem like it, and sometimes unbelievers feel like because we believe in God and because we choose to follow God, there's some type of different problems that we face. But no, like I put it like this: if there's an unbeliever who doesn't understand financial literacy, and
Hmm.
there's a believer who doesn't understand financial literacy, I promise you they'll both be in poverty. There's nothing that separates them because the knowledge about how to grow something is just fundamental knowledge that God created. So God gives you an understanding of how to grow something, whether it's just in general. And I'm just speaking from a general perspective. I'm just using like financial literacy as just a topic that I just chose
Analogy.
to, yeah, just an analogy that I chose to expound on. But the whole purpose of me saying that is to show you that there's nobody's subjugated. There's no like segregation in terms of like I'm going to face this, and because I'm with God I don't have to, and then because I'm not with God I'm going to face this. No, I can face the same problems as an unbeliever,
Hmm.
but because I have God I have a different level of knowledge that an unbeliever doesn't. So because I have access to someone who's all knowing, I have answers that they don't. So just because I'm able to get out of a situation without it blemishing everything that God's put in me does not mean that I didn't go through it. And I think that a lot of times, since unbelievers don't see our scars because God has covered them,
Hmm.
they believe that we didn't go through it at all. No, we just had a God so gracious and so loving that he took those blemishes and scars away because I used his knowledge. But trust me, if I was to use the knowledge of the world, even as a believer, you would see those scars. You wouldn't
Absolutely.
even be able to tell I was a believer.
Now that
So
you.
you can go through the same things as an unbeliever if you choose to disassociate yourself from the knowledge of God.
So the following question. Thank you for sharing that because that's the following question that I have is as a believer,
Hmm.
is he able to again get the understanding that why should a so let me rephrase the question.
Hmm.
Why should a believer why should he choose he or she why should he or she choose to depend on God than an unbeliever?
Okay. Well, we should choose to depend on God over anybody, believer or unbeliever. But the reason you should choose to depend on God is because there's an aspect of God that man doesn't have, which is omniscience. We don't know all things. So because we don't know all things, neither did we create all things, it's hard for us to understand the purpose of the things that we're trying to get through. But since God has an outside perspective, since he's outside of time, space, and matter, he can see farther than we can, so he can understand the true reality of the situation. Plus, he's not in the situation himself, so there's not an emotional perspective that's tied to it. He's just seeing it from what it is. So he's going to tell you, listen, this is how you're going to get in, this is how you're going to get out, and this is how it's going to work. Well, we don't think like that because then emotions get involved,
Hmm.
then all of these things get involved, and plus God has a specific purpose designed for your life. So when I'm depending on God, I'm depending on Him with the full trust, knowing that He's not going to allow anything to derail me from the purpose that He's given me. Because the purpose that He's given me is so great to Him, because it help fulfills the fullness of His vision, that He's not going to allow me to fail. See, a person will allow me to fail and will allow me to go through hardship,
And make
even
mistakes.
if
So
it just because it may fit what they want to happen for themselves, because it may benefit them me going through that hard situation. They may feel like they got the one up on me. So I
wow.
trust God more than anybody because I know He has my best interest at heart. He's always going to make me come out on top, because if I come out on top, he comes out on top.
Yes, he gets the glory.
Correct.
Wow. All right. So now give me. You gave a general analogy
Hmm.
about it. Now the actual scenario of a moment where um you will have to depend on God.
Mm, I mean, it could be anything. I mean, we can go to Psalm. I can give you a scenario.
Okay.
Right here. We can go to Psalms 43, verse 4. So in Psalms 33, verse 4, um, oh, not, well, we're going to read the whole chapter because it's only 5 verses. It ain't that long.
Okay.
It's judge me not, O God, and plead my case against an ungodly nation. Oh, deliver me from the deceitful and unjust man. For thou art the God of my strength. Why dost thou cast me off? Why go I mourning because of the oppression of the enemy? O see out thy light and thy truth. Let them lead me. Let them bring me into thy holy hill, into the tabernacles. Then will I go into the altar of God, unto my exceeding joy. Yea, upon the harp will I praise thee, O my God. For thou art cast down, O my soul. Why thou art disquieted with me, hoping for God? For I shall yet praise him who is in the health of my countenance, and my God. So we see that in that Psalms that David was going through a place where he felt like he was, I wouldn't say oppressed, but there were people there that were trying to overpower him with their authority. And he felt like this ungodly nation, might have had them one up. But you see that he went to God because he knew that a man couldn't deliver him from that. There was nothing that man could do. Because see, man can be persuaded by many different factors. So even if he did ask for a man's help, how does he know that that man is going to have a righteous enough heart or a good enough heart to go there on his behalf and actually, get him out of it without being persuaded by money or by women or by anything to keep him there? But God is not persuaded by those things. So he knows that because that is God's kingdom that he's in, and that is a kingdom that God is, using to advance his purpose and his vision for the world, he's going to make sure that that nation gets out on top every time. So when he is depending on God, he's not just asking God, just get me out of this for me. He understands that me getting him out of this is going to help lineages of people. Think about it. If that nation never oppressed David,
Hmm.
so think about the fact that that nation was never able to have rule over something that God had rule over. So it's all about understanding that me going to God is understanding that God has more power than anybody in anything in any system. So I shouldn't depend on a man who's lower than God to do something that God can do. I mean, we have to change our dependency if we want true freedom from, oppression and from
Hmm.
people's opinions and from the systems of the world. If we want true freedom from that, then we have to be able to know that if I depend on God and if I put my trust in knowing that He's going to make sure I come out on top every time, I don't have to worry about ever being last. I don't have to ever worry about being in a position where it doesn't benefit me,
Mm,
because it benefiting me would benefit God if I'm working in God's best interest. So
that's a good one.
part of, even allowing God to defend you, you have to be in a place where He can defend you. You see, David was in a place where God was going to defend him. He wasn't just out somewhere where he wasn't supposed to be, and he's asking God, "Oh, defend me." Not saying that God wouldn't have, because He most likely still would, because that's how loving He is. But you see, he was also in a place where there was a benefit to defending him. Like, God's going to get the glory for defending him, and also
Mm.
there's going to be people that reap from that, like from him getting out of that situation. So I would say that when it comes to just understanding, why it is that it's hard to explain. It's because it's like it's so many factors that go
There
into it.
is, and that's one thing I want to mention as well. Is that you mentioned that uh, the dependency of man is obviously God. Now, you also said that we get freedom from that.
Hmm.
A lot of individuals in this current day and age always assume that God makes us do things that is
Mhm.
that makes us dread doing things. But in reality, those things were part of his vision.
I wouldn't just say we drag it. I would just say more so we don't understand it.
That
Like,
makes it so
and,
dreadful.
and that makes it so dreadful because you don't understand why you're doing it or you don't see the vision. You think you're just doing a meaningless action. So you think you're just going in this
That's
repetitive
exactly.
circle.
That's what.
And now
That's
you're
what.
like, God, what you're doing in my life, I
That's
don't
right.
see it. So now you just get in this feeling of where like
Hesitation
yeah,
whenever you do something.
yeah, hesitation or more even just like you're discontent because you're like, what you see is like, this means nothing. Like, I'm just doing this thing. It means nothing. Like, why am I here? But then you end up seeing later once the vision is complete, I needed that because it built something in me that helped me withstand what was coming at me in the next season.
That's one thing. Um, there's a question that I want
But
to
I
ask.
do also want to go back
Go,
to the
go ahead.
last question because I feel like there was a part I
Need to clarify?
yeah clarify.
Okay, that's fine. Go ahead.
So I want you to re-ask the last question because I want to fully clarify it.
The last question I I asked was why why would a believer again choose? Why would he choose
To
to depend
choose to depend on God, right?
depend on God rather than the
Well,
unbeliever?
it says right here, "Oh, send out thy light." And this is in Psalms 43, by the way, verse 4. It says, "Oh, send out thy light, thy truth. Let them lead me. Let thy bring me into the holy hill and unto tabernacle." So the tabernacle is a place of God, and the holy hill is supposed to represent a place of God's presence. So God, you know, as you said, defending you or depending on you, or you depending on God,
That's right.
it defends you, but it not only defends you, but it brings you in a place where you can commune and connect with God.
Mm,
But also you get to be led by full truth, and you get to be led by His knowledge, which keeps you complete in not only your vision, but it keeps you fulfilled. Because if you walk in the realm of God's knowledge, you'll always have fulfillment. Because God's word is to fulfill.
that's
That's
right.
why that's why Jesus said, "Let man not live off bread alone, but by every word that proceeds out of the mouth of God."
That's so true because every time, as you know, I'm a writer and I like words so much. Every time I'm moving, but not only that, but thinking about the words of God,
Hmm.
I am walking and even in sitting still and laying down,
Hmm.
it's purposeful. I know where I'm supposed to be.
Hmm.
And that doesn't mean I have to be out with friends and
Hmm.
I mean I love company, but at the same time he keeps us at peace, which is
Yeah,
why
keeps
these
you grounded.
that's why I want to mention these are all the other questions, but we're knocking them out. So the fact is
And
that you're
But no, I just had
the
to go back because I felt like there was some parts I was missing, and I felt like that was the part that needed to be here. Is
yes,
that
thank
part of
you.
the reason why you are supposed to depend on God is because it allows you to have a connection and a close with Him, and a closeness with Him that keeps you not only grounded but fulfilled. And I think that's what a lot of unbelievers get to miss out on is the fact that they never get truly fulfilled. Even if they get out of that situation,
Hmm.
parts of them go missing.
It's
And
a
it's like every time that
it's a
they get
void
out of
that
that.
they put a void between um, grasping uh, God or
I wouldn't even say
to right.
void. I would say more so as they lose a part of themselves. Every time they
Oh,
get
they
out of
do.
a
Oh,
situation, it's
okay.
more so I lose a piece of me. I lose a piece of me. I lose a piece of me. There's nothing there that puts that piece back. And then they get into that one situation that fully breaks them. Whereas me as a believer, if I fully depend on God in every situation, I'm never going to lose a piece of me. He's not going to let it
So
because
you're
He's going
talking
to
about
keep me whole.
you're kind of talking about the degeneration of man. The more you go,
Yeah.
okay,
The more you go through something and the more you continue to go through stuff, it takes parts of you. And the more parts it takes without something being refilled back and regenerating the parts that were broken, you're going to mess around and you're going to just be
degenerate,
less of you, less of who
degenerate,
you are.
the opposite of regeneration.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to be less of who you are. That's why you see so many people walk around dead because at first they
Man,
were alive, but as they went through many situations, it's killed pieces of them that were never able to be restored because they were not connected to the person who can restore.
that is actually.
So this is the importance
Awesome
of
to hear.
depending on God. Is that's what and David knew that, and he knew where to go. Also, depending on God helps you to know where to go. A lot of times we stay in situations because we don't go to the person who has the keys to freedom. If you want to be free from situations, if you want to be free in God, you have to go to the person who can set you free. I'm not going to a man. You can't set me free. What can you do for me other than help me stay where I'm at? If you wasn't sent by God to help free me, then there's nothing you can do for me in a situation where I'm captive. Like you're not, no offense, but you're useless.
I read a poem about that this morning about about that. It was by John Milton of the past. Oh, we talked about. I don't have it right here with me, but uh, the poem went by, "What can you do?" Yeah, like you said, what can
Mm-hmm.
you do for me,
Yeah.
another man?
What can you do? I mean, what knowledge you got? I don't know. Unless it's God's knowledge. I mean, we kind of in the same boat, brother.
Yeah, and the fact that we enjoy riddles and paradoxes. We need more men. Come on, comment below paradoxes and riddles. We need more of them.
I mean, if you want to comment below paradox and wriggles, or even just give us situations that God helped you through, we would love to hear them. I mean,
Absolutely.
we're gonna read all the comments eventually. I mean, so, and like them, and comment back. Interact with you guys. So tell us some situations and some testimonies you got. We'd love to hear
Yes. Thank you. Um, Speaking about going off topic,
them.
I have encountered a lot of individuals
Hmm.
who don't depend on God, evidently by not having a belief in Him.
Hmm.
And I told you about this story yesterday during dinner. I said the way they view us is that we are uh, delusional for believing in something that is unseen by the metaphysical world.
Hmm.
And the contradictory that they always put us on the spot is so it's uh, it's a 101. You lose the uh, your dignity. We'll just say that because there's no debate. We don't debate. We don't. Truth just stands alone. So one of his comment was to insult my intellect, which is 101. You don't never do because you forfeit by debate. You forfeit in any quote unquote uh, argument. So what he said was this. He said, "If you, oh, he says you are surely brain dead,
Hmm.
and I would love to see us atheists pick your brain if you come to this uh, live show." Then I replied, I said, "Since you came to the conclusion that I am brain dead, why would a sane person pick my brain?" And he stood quiet, and he literally had nothing else to say. Because one thing is that I notice individuals can contradict their own logic, and that
Hmm.
is lawyer 101. You don't contradict yourself.
Hey man, the social media trolls. They be out there. They be out there trolling.
I mean,
Sometimes you just gotta be like facts.
facts. That's
Like
what I'm
sometimes you
saying.
gotta be like facts.
I play devil's advocate. Like, yeah, what if I am a non-believer and I am brain dead? Why would you want me on your show?
Facts. I mean, what can I give to the world?
What can I use in the world?
Why do you want to pick my brain? What is there to pick?
I said
No, I
that.
mean sometimes like people like that, I try not to, even debate with them because of the fact of
I don't. There's no need to
it,
debate.
it
That's just you just point out their own logic.
it's not even more about it's no need to debate, but what's the purpose when they call me delusional? But this is the question: is it my delusions or is your lack of foundation? I
Wow.
realize that people learn things from a foundational perspective. Like everything that you learned or everything that you do from the time you were 5 to now has all been taught to you, and it formed a foundation and you just built off that. So you're really living like your 5-year-old self, just you've added more knowledge because as you got older, you were able to understand more complex situations. So you've been able to acquire more complex solutions on the actual foundations that you've built, but you're still using the same foundational knowledge. So because
That's
they
right.
lack the foundation that was
Hmm.
able to understand what we know,
Man,
they look at us like we're delusional. But I'm not delusional. You just don't understand. So I don't even argue with that because I understand it's just a lack of wisdom. So what? So why would me as a wise person even comment? Because I understand me and you don't even see it. We don't even see what we don't even. I don't even see what you see. You don't even see what I see. There's no point. It's like talking to a dead doorknob.
I agree. Half the time you can, for me, as a man that I don't, you see, I take words seriously, as we all should when it comes to reading.
Yeah.
So this is what I've came to the conclusion. I said either, and this is what I'm saying, that there's this, it's the spiritual, it's just a spirit of man to do.
Hmm.
Either he's willing to add the words that you never said, because that's really, as I realize, in a argument, quote unquote. I don't find myself in this, but this is how they start. Didn't you say this? I never said that. Or after saying something, they said, yeah, but with, they use a synonym for that word that I use. I said, I never said that. So it's either they're adding and never subtracting, or switching out the verbiage I use. So that is now how I
I get it.
watch myself.
They're never
Never
necessarily.
addressing my question.
Yeah, they're never addressing what you actually
It's,
stated. They're
no,
addressing what they think you stated,
exactly. Every
which
time.
which is why
It's
there's
common.
a lot of
It's
confusion.
it's 3 year old knowledge. Literally, a kid can do that. I don't understand, but this is, we're living with leadership that has this mindset, which is sad because they went to school, and school switches out your verbiage of what what is used today in in certain trades, I guess.
I don't know. People to me kind of pointless, but hey, I just go.
I know, I'm the same boat. It's all politics at this point.
Yeah, excuse me. No way.
Hmm. Well, next question. Sorry, went on a tangent on that, but
Yeah, it really grieved his soul. When the Twitter trolls and the Instagram trolls and the Facebook
they
trolls
ain't
get to him.
trolls. They
No, they
just
are trolls, bro. They be trolling you, bro. They be
they
trolling.
be they be just.
They be firing him up. So I ain't gonna lie. If everyone get him fired up, just go get his page and start trolling.
All right, let's continue. I'll learn how to keep quiet someday.
Yeah.
I mean,
Until you
stop
start
writing.
gaslighting, and all of a sudden, it's just the quietness it just goes all the way.
It's all right. Before that happens, I'll hire someone to read all that. I'll teach him the ways. He'll do it. Okay. Anyways, the following
Hmm.
question would be this. So people don't see
Hmm.
the dependency of God to be a free thing. Remember, that's what
So what do you
I've
mean by free? They don't think that they have access to it, or they think they have to work for it.
they'll have access to it, but we were talking about how dreadful it was.
Yeah.
That's what I
No,
was gonna
because
say.
you said like they don't think that the dependency of God is free. So it's like, do you mean like they don't necessarily think that they have access to it, or like they don't think that they have like, or that they have to work for it, implying that it's something that they have to build up to get?
Not in that. I know personally that it's
No, I'm just talking about
the question.
the question.
Yeah, the question would be would God give us the privilege to come to Him anytime?
Well, yeah, I mean, Jesus talks about ask for everything. There's nothing you should do, or there's nothing you should feel like you can't ask God about. Like if you're doing something, you can ask Him. Am I on the right path? If I'm confused about something, I can ask for clarity. Like if I even need something in time of need, whether it's money, whether it's food, whether it's wisdom, whether it's help, like you can always ask God for anything because he's like you're his creation. So a creator is going to give whatever his creation needs. There's no limit to which he's willing to give.
Mm.
It's just the limit comes in to you. What are you willing to ask for? How much are you willing to trust him? And how far are you willing to go to get what you want? I don't think that there's a limit on which God is willing to give. I think there's a limit on how much we know how to ask for. I think the limitation when it comes to us receiving from God in a full dependency comes from our lack of awareness on
That's what I'm saying.
his role in our life.
Many people would.
Like we look at God just as God, but not as a provider, not as someone who's literally trying to give you everything you need because he wants you to be fulfilled. Because the more fulfilled you are, the more you're able to complete the mission at hand. I
That's
mean, I
right.
would never send soldiers into a battlefield and never give them the
Wow.
necessary tools
Equipment.
to, defend themselves and
Equipment. Yep. To do so.
complete what I'm trying to get done.
Wow.
So you gotta understand, God looks at us like warrior soldiers. So He's never going to put you in a place where you don't have the necessary tools to complete the task at hand.
Man, that's a good response right there. So that's why he tells us to freely ask.
Yeah, freely ask, as you should. I mean, there's nothing that God wants to keep from you, because this is the thing. What's He gonna do with it? He doesn't need it. He created it for you. So why would I withhold something I created for you? Only time I withhold it is if I don't think that you're ready to receive it, or if you haven't asked. But I do definitely want to do an episode when it comes to relationships on knowing what to ask for
Mm-hmm.
and knowing that you can ask. I'm gonna get into like a little tangent about this, but I feel like many people lack in relationships and they lack in um in just relationship in general, whether it's God, relationship or relationship between
Man, business.
man, business, man and woman,
Yep.
because we're afraid to ask. And when we do ask, we don't know what we're asking for. We don't ask for what we need, we ask for what we want. And we think that our wants are our needs. So if we learn how to effectively communicate our needs to God and to people and understood what are God given needs, which means that only needs that God can fulfill, and then what are the needs that man can fulfill in my life, then we would know how to separate what to ask God for and what to ask man for. But I feel like since we don't know that, we tend to ask the wrong people for the wrong things. And then when those expectations are hurt, we feel like we should never ask again because now I have to do it myself because nobody's giving it to me. Maybe just ask the wrong person.
Or ask the wrong question.
Yeah, exactly. Ask the wrong question. So when it comes to asking and getting what you need from God, understand freely ask, but know what you're asking for.
Mm.
Understand the magnitude of what you're trying to get.
Wow.
And understand that is what you're trying to get an end result or what you're trying to get a stepping stool to get to the end result. Like, for instance, right? I'm going to give you an example. Solomon asked God for wisdom. God gave him wisdom and money. But he didn't. But what Solomon didn't understand was what he really asked God was, give me the ability to know how to steward, because wisdom is knowing how to steward. Wisdom that like as a part of wisdom. And since he had the ability to steward, God knew he could trust him with money.
Mm-hmm.
As many of us will go to God and say, "Oh God, give me, give me a lump sum of money, or make me rich." And God's like, "Okay, well I'm gonna give you wisdom." And they were like, "No, I don't want that. I want the money." He's like, "Well, you don't want the money at all, because if you really wanted the abundance, you would understand the wisdom comes before it, because you need the wisdom in order to know how to guide it." So you see how there's always a setup to the end result. So many of us ask for the end
It's
result
a
without asking for the setup.
it's a preposition. Preposition. Is that the right word?
I wouldn't say it's a preposition, but it's like I would just say it's setup. It's like,
Prerequisite. That's the
yes,
word.
it's a prerequisite.
Okay. So
I would say we mostly just have to understand how to ask the right questions when it comes to
I believe
trying to
it.
get what we want.
That's something I'm working on with you in this podcast.
Yeah,
I've
I
always
mean,
had to
I've been working
restructure
on it
my
too.
question.
I've had to restructure a lot of questions because I know that in my younger years of Christianity, not knowing this, I asked so many retarded questions I can't even name them. But just being able to go back and look at my prayers and be like, you know what, is what I asking for the problem, or was how I asked the problem? And I have to realize that many of the time it wasn't what I asked, it was just how I asked it.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't ask for the prerequisite to build to that. I was more so just asking for the
For the
thing itself.
prize. Yep, that's right.
But that goes back to your question when you was talking about My fault, I got on a tangent. I forgot. What the
The question was free. Um, it's free. Are we freely going to receive it, and how much, basically? And you just explained it
was
perfectly.
that the question?
Is it done freely from us?
I don't know. I don't know. I kind of got lost because once I saw something, I wanted to attack it. But anyway, next question.
You did it. Okay, so that is the one. Now it's gonna be the last question for you.
Okay.
So, all right. For this one is, whoa, will you have peace when you on depend on God's
Knowledge.
knowledge? That's
Okay.
right.
Yeah, and I'll tell you why. One time, and I'm gonna just give you a personal example. One time I was sitting up. It was like two a.m. in the morning. I was like 17, 18 years old, and I was just so uneasy because it was so many things I didn't know. And I remember I was sitting up. It's 2 a.m. I'm alone in a dark room. I know it sounds kind of weird, but this is where I was. You
No,
know,
it's a common thing,
I do
dude.
most of. I ain't
I've
gonna lie.
been.
I do most of my late night thoughts and my late night revelations because I be up at 2 a.m. just wondering about the most
I have.
randomest
I
things.
have to interrupt you. That's a normal thing. A lot of people are probably watching this at 2 a.m.
Cause bro, it just some I don't know. My brain just decided to be up at 2 a.m. Like, let's learn something new again. So I'm sitting there and I'm just uneasy and I'm just in deep just thought or meditation or whatever. And I remember God spoke to me and he was like, I live so you don't have to know. And I didn't understand what that meant until I realized that if you look at Genesis, Adam was living out everything that God knew. Like, Adam didn't have to know anything. He just had to live out what God was telling him he needed to know. The moment that Adam tried to go and get knowledge outside of what God knew, because he felt like there was something he didn't know and he decided to get it from a place that wasn't God, all of a sudden, all the dependency on him having to know things was put on him. So now he was away from God, so now he's struggling. So I realized in that moment that I struggle less when I'm not operating in my own knowledge, but in his knowledge, and I'm just living out his thoughts. Because if I'm living out his thoughts, I'm living out his vision. And his vision will always surpass mine. So there'll always be a peace and there'll always be a sense of groundedness because I'm not depending on a vision that's faulty. My vision is faulty because I can only see but so far. But his vision is full because he can see the full picture. So therefore, when I'm living instead of knowing, I'm more at peace because I'm in my right realm as a man. My job was never to know. That was never my job. My job was just to live out what he knows. And by living out what he knows, then I'm able to get understanding of why I'm here. Adam was more at peace and had more clarity of his life when he was living under what God knew rather than what he was trying to get to know.
Man, that is deep. I actually have a reference to a song from this artist named Tom Paxton,
Hmm.
and it's an older gentleman. He's still alive, thank God. Um, and he wrote a song called "I Wonder Where I'm Bound." And now you're right about that. If if he lived, doesn't matter where we're bound. We're going to
Yeah, because you got to think,
be
you
living.
don't know as much as you think you know. So if you go off of what you know, you'll never really be able to operate in any space fully because your knowledge is limited. Where if I depend on God, there's no place where I can be where God's knowledge will not allow me to fully operate f- efficiently in any place I'm at.
So the paradox of that would be that you're boundless,
Yeah, I'm boundless by living within God, and I keep myself bound without living without Him.
and that's satisfying. We just solved the paradox.
Like this. What like this is what it's for, man. We gotta solve these things for the people who, like for the people who don't know.
That's right. And now we sound crazy for saying that, but you're
Nah, I
right.
definitely probably sound like a crazy man. People probably watching this and like,
Repeat that. Repeat this conclusion. Sorry, about how we are boundless in in the right preposition, because just do it.
no, I think they can rewind. They got it. Because I low key kind of forgot. I just started talking and just start yapping, and then like the words just start coming out. See, I want you to know this. I'm a yapper. Like I just be like I be
I'm the
yapping.
I'm the the riddler, and the paradox.
So it's like
At,
once I start
at the
yapping and I be saying some good stuff, I don't remember. I don't remember what I just said. I just know I said something and it came from God, and we're gonna leave it there. And if you want to re-listen, rewind.
That's right. But no, that conclusion was wonderful. Yeah, within God. I'll just clarify for you that what you
Mm-hmm.
just said. Yeah, within
Yeah,
God
do
we
that for
are
me, please.
boundless.
Yeah, within God we are boundless. Without God we are set in bounds.
That's right. Okay, so that is
I
the
don't know.
conclusion.
It's like one more thing.
Okay.
It's like a lot of people don't understand that God told Adam to subdue the whole earth, right? But because he worked outside of God's knowledge, he wasn't even able to subdue the area that God had placed him in. Think about it. He never subdued the garden, but the garden was the first place that God wanted him to subdue. He hadn't finished the whole purpose.
That's right. He
No,
did.
for real, because think about it. The whole earth was his. Now it's all distributed in different parts because of a lack of fulfillment on his part. We wouldn't have this if he would have fulfilled his purpose. So because he operated outside of the knowledge of God, he didn't know how to fulfill the rest of it. Now imagine if he would have lived out what God said. Our life would be different. Yes, he was placed in the garden,
Correct.
but
Yep.
that wasn't his final destination. He was placed there as a starting point. So a lot of people thought his starting point was the garden, and that was it. No, the garden was just a little place on this whole big earth. And God told him to subdue the earth in totality. He didn't say subdue the garden. No, he said subdue the earth.
That's
He
good.
didn't even get to subdue the garden. Think about because of him not living within the knowledge of God and living within the knowledge of his own, how much he lost. That's where dependency will get you. Not being able to fully fulfill and not even being able to complete the place that you were supposed to be. You didn't get to go beyond it, neither did you get to fulfill what was in it. You didn't do anything. And that's where many people are at without the knowledge of God. They're doing nothing. They're not able to fulfill where they're at, neither are they able to get out and fulfill, the more of what God has.
That is encouraging for us saints, and that is probably morbid for those who don't understand or don't want to understand the dependency of God. Well, that is the end of our episode. This is episode 6.
Yeah, it ain't the end. Whoa, 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 whoa.
No,
See, he trying to kick you out. I'm trying to show you love. Like, I'm trying to give you a hug, embrace you. You're like, yeah, man, I gotta go. Come on, Steve. Come on. We can't do this to our peoples. Unc got y'all. All my nieces and nephews, Unc got you. It's all love. You feel me? All 2025. It's all love. So let's give them what they rightfully deserve. The
That's right.
special question of
That's
the
right.
day.
That's right.
And remember, if you can comment the episode that this is on, there will be a giveaway at the end of season 6. I mean,
Season
season
1.
1. Oh my gosh. I'm thinking so many steps ahead. At the end of season 1. So therefore, if you want to take part in that giveaway, please comment whatever episode this is on, and be able, we will be able to take comments anywhere, whether that's Instagram, YouTube, any social media, so they'll be
Any
able to,
platform. We'll
any
have
platform.
Rob me
So
links.
wherever you're at when you comment the episode, we will take note of it, and you will be entered into a giveaway.
That's right. And we're gonna have one link that links to
Everything,
everything.
everything.
That's right.
So you don't got to worry about, I gotta click this
We did
different
the
links.
heavy
Yeah, we
work.
doing the heavy lifting for you. Like we got y'all. I told you, Unc got you. So anyway, continue.
Yes. All right. So for the last question, we are going to start with: is love unconditional?
Yes,
And
my fault. Go
and
ahead.
by what context does it make it unconditional?
Well, love is unconditional because of the fact of, okay, let me show you something. This is how I know love is unconditional. You see, God is love, and we're supposed to love the way that, or in a similar manner to way the which God does, because we can't love completely like God, because We're human and we don't have that capability, but we can love in the same manner. So I want you to see something. God's love was able to surpass any condition, whether it was separation or whether it was closeness. He was able to love us in sin and he was able to love us out of it because love is not bound by a condition. If it's conditional, then it's not love because love surpasses conditions. See, people think that when they're in love and they put a condition, that's them protecting their love. No, that's creating a boundary to make you feel safe in a relationship. That's when I create a boundary, that's me telling this person, I can only love, I can only be in this relationship loving you safely if this is met. And I'm still going to love you even if this isn't met, but I can't safely be in relationship with you, so I should exclude myself in the day that these boundaries are broken. So a boundary is to keep you safe. Love is a choice that you make to serve the other person. That has nothing to do with a condition. That has something to do with, are you willing to love through conditions? So when I choose to love someone, I'm choosing to love them through any condition. I don't care. I'm choosing to sacrifice and give and be kind and do all of these things for this person, no matter the condition. But when I put boundaries up to protect that, that's not me setting the condition. That's me trying to be safe. And me being safe is a condition. Don't get me wrong, but I'm not saying that that's the only way you're going to receive my love. I'm saying that's the only way you're going to stay in relationship with me. Even God set boundaries. God said that in these boundaries, you get to have access to me.
That's right.
That has something to do with protecting his self.
That's
That
why
had
he has
nothing to
us.
do with protecting his love because you were still
Correct.
going to receive his love regardless.
Mhm.
You just didn't get to have access to the fullness of him. So when I'm protecting myself in relationship, I'm setting this boundary and saying, hey, if you want full access, you have to stay within this realm, but you can still receive the love regardless. It's just, do
That's
you
right.
want me to feel safe and continue to be here with you? Or do you want my love from a distance because I had to separate because these boundaries were crossed? It's up to you, but you're still going to receive the love either way. But how much access do you want to me?
And then the closer, which is the proximity. Thankfully,
Luckily, it
there's
was nothing
nothing.
in that.
Yeah.
Because I'm not gonna lie, I looked at that fall in slow motion and was like, no. But I didn't say it though. I was like, dang.
Yeah. Thankfully, it was empty. Anyways, back to the topic. I was gonna say this. So the proximity,
Mhm.
as in, I read a lot of textbooks. Sorry, I'm always reading a lot, and
Nah, keep
bro, we have that mindset. We're always gonna say a word, and I want to hop to another topic. But it is similar to what a domestic home would be like. So the closer you are shows that his love was always going to be there, but you're not going to reap the full
yeah,
benefits
the full benefits have come with it
because
because
in the proximity of that's why God calls us to be still.
yeah, because you gotta think, right? I'm gonna give you an example. Adam was able to stay alive because of God's grace. But he wasn't able to get the fullness that God had of him because he was no had for him because he was no longer in close proximity with him anymore. So this is the thing. When you're connected to a person and you are in relationship, you get access to benefits that come with that person. Love is not the benefit that comes with them. Love is just like it's just their personal choice to go beyond the human measure for you. But you being close to them is where the real benefit comes in, where they start adding value to your life. That's when the real benefit comes in. That's when you really start to get the fullness of the person. But when you choose to take their love for granted and what they're willing to do for you for granted and the benefits that come with them for granted by crossing boundaries, that doesn't mean they don't love you by separating from you. You just don't get to have the full access that you once had. Like, think about it. We didn't get to have full access to God anymore because of what Adam did until we choose to. But does that mean that God still didn't create a plan for your life? Does that still mean God didn't put you here? Does that still mean God didn't make a way for you to get the gospel so that you can come back? That's love. He's doing
Correct.
all of these things from a separated place. So the love never stopped. But the boundary kept you from receiving the fullness of him. So when we look at love, we should understand that it's not conditional. Love has no condition because love has surpassed any condition that you could ever think of. So if love can surpass any condition, that's to teach you that love has no condition. What has conditions is the proximity of you and a person depending on whether boundaries are crossed or not. Those are the things that revolve around conditions. Relationships revolve around conditions because in order to have a good relationship, you need to be in a safe environment. So that's a condition, but that has to do with a relationship. So I think that we have to stop confusing relationship and love because love is a part of a relationship, but love isn't a relationship.
That's exactly what was the
Because
next question.
God loved you, but there was no relationship. So you can see that there was no relationship, but there still was love, which can show you that a relationship does not always have to be present on love. It should be, and there should be love in a relationship, but they can be separate. They don't have to be intertwined.
That's exactly what I was going to ask. So you have answered it
Oh, my bad.
quite well. Um, so yes, love is unconditional because God exists and He is love.
Mhm.
We got that down.
Mhm.
The second,
Boundaries are for
right?
relationships.
Yep.
Um, the relationship and love can be intertwined, but they're not always connected. And what else?
Let me think here.
I think that was it.
That
I think that's
that's all
really all we
covered.
can give you for today. I mean,
That's right. That's the bonus question.
yeah, that was a bonus question. I kind of went a little bit over, but I just wanted you to understand what. I know we talked about what love was, and that love was an action and it wasn't a feeling. Now I'm giving you a little bit of a teaser on the fact that love isn't. Love is unconditional. It's not a condition. It's not something that is predicated on. I have to be in this state to love you. No, if someone says that, then that's not love. Because if they really loved you or cared about you, it wouldn't matter what condition or what state it was in. They would still, love you.
Absolutely, and that is a God-given trait.
Yeah, that's God given trait. But yeah, I mean, that's all I have. That's all you have?
Also,
Okay.
just one last thing. Expound a little bit on the fullness. How can we, since we are now in grace, how can we get the fullness
Fullness of what?
of God's love?
Um,
I guess is the word.
I would say just keep the fullness of God's love. I mean, if you want the fullness of God just in general, since He is love, I would just say keep getting in His presence. That's how you get the fullness of God's love. I mean, you can't get the fullness of anything if you're at a distance. So I would say if you want the fullness of something, you have to be in a close proximity with it in order to have access to all that it offers.
Okay.
So I would say if anybody wants the fullness of God's love, get so close with Him where it's able to just flow down, where it doesn't have to travel through these different barriers that you've built up, and then you only end up getting a drop because that was all that's left. After it had to travel through this roadblock and this roadblock and this roadblock. No, get so close with Him where it's just a straight flow.
That's what I meant.
There's no blockage.
There's no blockage because since God is unchangeable, unchanging, immutable, there's no change, and it just keeps going.
Yeah, it keeps
It's
going.
in a straight line.
What causes blockage is you, not Him. He's not trying to block you.
There's the answer. That's what I wanted to
Like,
get.
when we see verses where it talks about why did God draw nigh from me, He didn't separate from them. You gotta understand, when you see these people in the Bible, they were still learning. You're going through stories from people who had just met God or just started walking with God closely. So they felt just like us. Oh God, why did you leave me? Just because I don't feel you. No, I never left you. You just had some things going on that blocked me from you. But
Wow.
if you remove those barriers, I'm still where you left me. It's not I left you, it's you left me. It's not why did you draw far from no, it's not why did no, it's not how do I put it? It's not God, why did you draw far from me? It's why did I draw far from you?
That's a good one. Yeah.
Because He's never moving. It's we're the ones who moving.
We
We're the
move, we
ones who's
change,
changing and
we have a
going
double
through
mind in
these
mind.
different avenues. And He's like, I'm still where you left me. And we calling from Him from Arizona. He's like, I'm still back in Texas. Where? What do you mean? why God draw far from you? What do you mean? Why can't you feel me? I'm still where you left me. I'm still right here. I'm still right here. So as long as you remember that He's always right there and He's not moving, and if you want to always know and have the confidence that He is there, just remember, stay close to Him. And just because you can't feel Him doesn't mean He's not there.
Thank you.
Feelings are interchangeable. Feelings are fleeting. They change so much and they could be swapped in and out so fast that it would be futile to believe that based on this feeling He's not there when His word says that I am.
Correct.
And His word surpasses all feeling.
Absolutely, because it's subjective and eternal, and they're living words. I have one more question.
Okay.
Not one more question. One more
I think we
scenario.
kind of went past the bonus, but hey, keep going.
This
I
is
guess,
part of the bonus.
I
It
don't
was a
think.
scenario.
Okay.
So remember we were in church.
Mhm.
Yes, we have conversations in church,
Mhm.
and it was a great sermon,
Mhm.
and that kind of brought me uh, a revelation when I was just thinking, and I talked to you about it.
Mhm.
I said, man, it's so easy for us to believe in the lies.
I remember this. I remember this.
And you said that what keeps you uh, in the lies is that it came out of your own mouth, which means that your ego is bigger than the truth. And at times that's actually sad to hear about that. But that is the reality, that when it comes out of your mouth and you're
You
here pouting,
automatically believe it. It's like, oh yeah, I said that. Facts. Like, what are you talking about? It's not
it's the
facts.
alter ego speaking up.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, it's the one. No, it's not the one. Like Serena Spectacles, or wherever you said that hey, you thought you did that and you didn't.
That I got it, that I rocked it in
No,
there.
no,
It was the alter
no. It was
ego
the
speaking.
yes. Leave him at home. He can't speak no more. You start get the glasses. You talk about New Year, new me. No, it's New Year, same you. Don't let's not.
That's
There's no
right.
New Year, new me. You on New Year, new shenanigans. What are you doing? Serene spectacles. I'm sorry, I'm still stuck on that because he was really about to post that and then be like fire, and I was gonna be like, no, what are you? Why?
That's right. So
And if any of y'all comment talk about, don't be hating on his serene spectacles. That was hard. You're glazing. Stop glazing. You're glazing. You are glazing. That's not okay.
we switched up. We came to an agreement. It's going to have a new title,
Mm-hmm.
and it'll be a surprise to you.
It's
And
gonna
it
be a
will not be
surprise.
anywhere near to that.
Mm-mm.
So fine.
Very far. Very far.
That was the last analogy I wanted to bring up
Mm-hmm.
about how we are the block, and that was it. That's that
Yeah.
about that
I mean,
scenario
that's
with
just
lies.
another scenario of how you can be a block, but sometimes it could be getting in situations that keep you far from God.
Okay.
Like sometimes David would say, "Oh God, you're so far from me," but there were many things that he did in his life where it kept him. I won't say separated, but it kept him drawn away. His attention was so like he was so distracted. His attention was so elsewhere that he couldn't really see God the way he was because he had started moving farther and farther away. So he's like, God, where are you? You cast yourself from me. And he's like, no, you just ran away, and I'm still here.
With all the blessings and the riches that I was supposed to hand to you, and
Yeah,
you were never supposed to take off.
yeah. He just took off.
He said, "I had the kingdom here. What are you doing?"
It's like a it's like a little child. They run from you and then they get lost, and they be like, Daddy, where are you? And you're like, I'm the same place where you ran from me. And then you're like, why did you leave me? I didn't leave you. You started running and you expected me to chase you.
Our expectations can lead us to the wrong direction
Of
all the time.
course. Because our expectations can be in the wrong place. Like when our expectations are in our own words, our words don't hold as much weight as
No,
God's.
it doesn't.
Like, excuse me. Our words hold weight, but when it comes to our purpose over our life, our words don't hold that much weight to where we can alter and direct what's going on. Nah,
No,
nah. I had to learn that the hard way.
I learned that the hard way.
I had to learn that the hard way. All right.
That's how we're here. We're letting you.
I got you, nephew.
Don't go
Nephew,
through
niece,
that.
I got you. Don't go through that. I'm trying to tell you, you know, I'm trying to tell you the truth.
Amen. All right. Well, let's. Are you good for
Oh
closing
yeah,
for the
I'm
next
good
episode?
closing. Like I say, like, comment, share, subscribe. Please tell a friend who gonna tell a friend who tell a friend. We will see you next time on episode 7. I enjoyed myself.
Yes.
Hope you had a good time with Unc.
It. That was great.
Hope you had a good time with Unc, and we will see you on the next episode. We love you guys. Thank you for your support, and we'll see you next time.